Hey everyone, my name is Pranshul. I'm one of the major advisors for biological and health sciences here at ReadyEdgeGo. And my topic this week I'm going to be covering is beneficial programs and even summer courses you can be taking to kind of help you decide if biological or health sciences is the right track for you. So, talking to a few students the past few weeks, what I found to be the number one hardest thing for them to do right now is finding shadowing opportunities. Now, anytime I talk to my students, I heavily encourage shadowing because the only way you're going to know if you want to go into a field is by actually shadowing a person in that field. So, for example, if you really want to be a nurse, the way that you're going to find out is if nursing is right for you is by going and just observing somebody that's doing that job, right? You want to see what they do on a day-to-day basis and if that's something you can see yourself doing. Similarly, with being a doctor, finding a doctor to shadow, and it doesn't have to be a doctor that you eventually want to end up in. So let's say you really want to be a neurosurgeon when you're older, right? You don't have to shadow a neurosurgeon doc right now to get a feel of what being a doctor is like, right? Shadow any doctor that you can find. So that is one of the hardest things that I've seen students facing so far is finding shadowing opportunities, especially in times like this where COVID is taking over. And so it's harder to get into a hospital, especially as a high school student. So the advice that I've been giving most of the students that I've been talking to is find little clinics that you can go and shadow in. Now, I'm sure your number one thing is, oh, if I'm going to go shadow, it should be at a big hospital, right? And don't think of it like that. A doctor is a doctor regardless of where you're going to go shadow them. So if you have your primary care provider or your family practitioner that you go and see on a year-to-year basis, like you get your physical and your annual exams from them, see if they're willing to take you, right? Just say, hey, Dr. So-and-so, is it possible for me to shadow you any day that you're available, right? Just ask them either in person or they're probably more responsive to emails, but obviously in person's number one if you can ask them then and there. So try to find clinics where COVID isn't taking a heavy burden, right? Hospitals that have emergency rooms or hospitals that have urgent care centers are going to be harder to go into right now, and they probably have a lot more restrictions for high school students. So that's my number one suggestion is to find clinics. Even your primary care provider is probably the best one to get started with. Obviously, if you have family members in the health field, then go ahead and talk to them, but just see if you can get in somewhere just to see what they do on a day-to-day basis and see if you actually like it. Now, this applies to all biological and health sciences related careers, not just medicine. So even, for example, if you want to go and do research afterwards, see if you can find a research provider and just ask them like, hey, I'm really interested in your research, and just reach out via email. Sometimes you do have to cold email, right? So kind of like cold calling, but you do have to cold email. So you go on the website and you just type in what kind of research you're interested in, find a contact source. It can be an email of either a student or even the research director, and just email them. Um, Big things to keep in mind. Anytime you're emailing somebody that you're interested in shadowing, always double check your grammar. Make sure you keep it concise. You want to introduce yourself and tell them why you're interested in shadowing them, but don't make it super long, right? These people are pretty busy, so they don't have time to read a novel if you're sending them a novel. Okay, so keep it concise, hit the highlights about why you're interested in shadowing their program. And then the main thing is to make it easy to contact you, right? So either include a good phone number to call you on, include a good email address that you check regularly. And it's, in my opinion, it's okay to put, you feel free to text, email, or call me, because sometimes the program directors, they just have time to send you a quick text. So if that's all they can do, then that gives them that option, okay? So just make sure you might have to email 10, 15 different programs until you finally get a response from one. And it's a really burdensome task to ask a lot of students to do, but that is the only way you're going to figure out if you enjoy the biological and health field. And I think that goes for most career options. Go and see what they do on a day-to-day basis. And obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But I highly recommend start reaching out right now. It's a good time to find good shadowing opportunities. It's been good talking with you all. Thank you.